the Johnny Rocket Launchpad. And now, here's Johnny.
Hey, it's Johnny Rocket here at the Johnny Rocket Launchpad, launching ideas in your direction, the Northwest's only rock and roll libertarian radio show. I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Kurt Nelson.
Fucking name, baby.
Voice of Reason, Miss Heather Nixon.
Yes.
And you can check us out at libertytalk.fm Saturdays and Sundays, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. and Radio KSER Tuesdays, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. And let's not forget CMG Global Radio Thursdays, 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. And these are all Pacific time. God damn, that's early still. Wow. We had Kevin R.C., that's RC, not radio control, but Professor R.C. Gutzman.
What does that stand for?
I don't know.
Man, that guy was like, it was like having a book
I
on
know.
the show. Like, he was just like,
Yeah,
what
Totally.
an amazing guy, man. Like, he knows everything.
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 Like, you name it, a historical date. He'll be like, oh, yeah, back in that date.
I'll tell you, you want to know what the headline of the newspaper was that day? I'll tell you.
Right. He's not just a book, he's a set of encyclopedias about the
Right,
Constitution.
totally. Yeah.
Totally.
The guy was I mean, he knows his shit, and that's why we had him on this show. And if there was one guy who knows the Constitution, this is the thing. I think, what we should do is look at the Constitution as our rule book for our country, and that's exactly what it is. And if there was somebody who knew the rule book, this is the guy.
He's read all the rules.
He's read the rules. Not only has he read the rules, but he's actually studied the rules. Like, somebody may say, blah, 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 your Second Amendment right cannot be, whatever. I don't have the Constitution in front of me, but whatever.
I have one in my purse. Do you want it?
Yeah, read it. Read the
I have
Second
one in my
Amendment.
purse, too.
Your man purse.
It's not a man purse. I have just a giant pink frilly, like zebra stripe purse.
Really?
No, I don't. Actually don't.
What about the old, or not 90s?
The fanny pack.
The fanny pack. Dude.
I did the fanny pack back in like the late 80s.
Did you really?
I was a kid. Yeah, I was a kid. But so yeah,
Man, that's weird.
like the late 80s.
Never did it.
I didn't, man. But I was like Mr. like fall in with all the stupid trends. That's what I did when I was young. Like when Miami Vice was hot, I had the Don Johnson.
Yeah, Don
outfit,
Johnson. Yeah.
like with
the
white with the muscle pants and like the
cocaine,
the suit
cocaine
coat on
white.
top,
Yeah.
where you're not, but it's not a suit. It actually kind of looks dumb instead.
All right, Heather Nixon reading the Second Amendment.
A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
Period. Okay. What's awesome about the Second Amendment, but he will go into it and say why it's fucked up and why it's been interpreted wrong. Technically, Washington State, from his perspective, should have the right to implement 591 in this state. That is what that's what the federal government couldn't do to the state. So they couldn't take away your guns at a federal level, but if you lived in that state, you could.
It's still stupid and pisses me off, though.
Right, but I would rather have a government in which I could actually have some sort of control over in regards to a state government. You could bend the rules.
I hear you.
Okay. So I get what he is saying. That makes sense to me. A lot of misconceptions, though, is that, like when we were talking about the 14th Amendment, is that a lot of those powers went down to the states through interpretation of law, and that federal judges have overextended their power to the state to implement the Second Amendment, which isn't really true from his point of view. And that's the reason why it was passed, because nobody thought that would happen. It was a general thing. So anyways, though, we've had a crazy week here since we last recorded. And I think it's kind of important that maybe we talk about it here on the Launchpad. And I think it's important. We normally do, rocket fire review, but we can still do that if we have time. If we don't, we'll ixnay that, because I think Professor Gutzman's opinions are spot on. You can't argue with a historian on this one. But regarding the Baltimore riots, I think that's important that we talk about. What has caused these riots? What is the factors or the conditions that have created this element?
Well, you know what? I can tell you what Rush Limbaugh thinks.
Okay, let's do it. What the fuck?
And I so care about Rush Limbaugh.
Well, come on. Of course you do. It's fucking Rush.
I hold him in very
Rush Limbaugh.
high regard. Rush Limbaugh.
Dude, I'm looking at his picture right now, and he's so cool with his black shirt.
Is he smoking a cigar?
Yeah. But he's
Okay.
got his shirt unbuttoned, kind of like 80s Coke dealer style.
Nice.
And
Totally
smoking,
cool.
and he's like, it's just radio. I have a face for radio.
Right.
But, if you could see the look on his face, like,
Fuck you.
I'm a fucking Cuban. Because I have this cigar that makes me Cuban.
Right,
This big
right.
fat fucking cigar, bro. No, this headline on the Rush Limbaugh Show website says, angry president blames slavery Jim Crow for Baltimore riots. And Rush, we've got Obama who is out there saying, summarized, hey, let me tell you something. My presidency is not going to end. My project continues after my presidency. This is Obama speaking to Democrat donors in New York, and he's telling them how important everything he has done is, and now he's not leaving it to chance that it can be overturned and undone.
Okay, well, again, I'm going to go back to the whole point. From what I have researched and what I've seen, and this is what fucking baffles me. It fucking baffles me.
What exactly baffles you, bro? What is it?
It doesn't chat my ass, but it baffles me. Is that most of these problems, these communities, these African-American communities, now I'm going to start off from the top here. Does racism exist? Yes, it does.
Of course it does.
But is racism the actual problem? No,
I don't
it
think
is
so
not
either.
the problem.
I don't think so either.
And this is where everyone, kind of gets this whole thing wrapped up in the racism. Now, what you don't hear on the news is apparently, the mayor is black. Half the police officers in that situation in Baltimore were black. Okay, which I don't understand how it can be a racist issue. It's a culture war. This is part culture war and it's part economic issues. Okay, and so regarding the culture war aspect of it, look, you're in a bad neighborhood. It's just the way it is. All right, in certain situations, that if you are in a bad neighborhood, you are more likely targeted for crimes. All right,
sure.
How the police treated that individual, again, is a separate issue from the riots.
Right.
All right. So we had this guy who was killed, and he may have been killed unjustly. All right. Maybe there was some abuse. I mean, but I'm looking at also, I don't think every cop is bad. I don't think these guys were out to fucking kill this guy. Is it manslaughter? Absolutely. Did they fucking intentionally kill the guy? No, I don't think they did. How many times do you think a cop has to hear, hey, man, my cuffs are really tight. Hey, man, you're mistreating me, man. You're hurt. I need to see a doctor.
Right.
Every fucking time you hear anyone get arrested, they're bitching about their medical condition or something. And it's crying wolf, What I'm getting at is that I think, yes, racism exists. I am sorry for the guy who died. I'm sorry for his family. But it's not the fundamental reason to protest and riot and all these things is fucked up.
Well, and you can't call it, you can't blame it on white privilege.
No.
That's just ridiculous.
I'm so tired of that fucking term. I'm fucking sick of white privilege. I do not have white privilege. I'm sorry. And, I feel like right now there's a lot of quotas and all these other things that are going on in any job. And a lot of jobs, you have to have quotas just to make sure that you're accommodating all these different nationalities, which is bullshit. Hire the person who's good for the job. But going back, the African-American community has been treated unfairly in a lot of ways. We can go back to zoning laws. All right, we could start with zoning laws. Zoning laws were established to keep the black people away from the white people. That's why zoning laws were established.
Right, and that's a fucked up thing.
Right, and so what they'll do is they'll give them money for the projects, these ghettos, and they'll put them on shitty areas and near industrial plants and all that bullshit.
Every big city's got one,
exactly.
The Bronx and Watts and all this shit.
Right, so you're going to put these people, right, away from any real economic development, right? And then on top of that, you have minimum wage laws, which prohibit them from entering the workforce. And then Professor Gutzman was saying, then they're entitled for more babies because then they get more money from the government. Then there's welfare programs that put them in a gilded cage. So now you have these people who are living in a shitty neighborhood who are now dependent on a system. And if they do want to work, they can't go to work because the establishment has put this ladder so high above their heads to where they can't work. So of course they're fucking frustrated. But it's our own. But what fucking baffles me, it's the fucking government that has put this in place, and yet they're calling for more government to fix the goddamn problem.
Right.
That is what pisses me off. This is where I don't think most people understand the whole scenario. Is there racism? Sure. Is there black on white racism? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Is there black or white on black racism? Yes. All these things exist. But you know what? You don't see, I'm sorry, but it's the culture now that has been developed from this treatment of blacks through government things. And even the white people are fucking stupid because now we're celebrating fucking destruction of private property. Not even talking about the goddamn courthouse or the police station or any of this shit. We are now talking about private property, people's cars. And if I was a grocery store owner or the CVS store owner, motherfucker, I will be on the rooftop shooting motherfuckers who try to burn my place down.
Well, and it's worse. It's not just private shit either. I'm looking at headlines and pictures of the shit now, and there's people smashing cop cars.
Mm-hmm.
That's $100,000. A cop car is $100,000, and we paid for it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't say that the reason that cop car got smashed, or that the Joe Blow's barbershop's window got smashed is because of white privilege. It's because some fucking thug smashed the goddamn window.
Exactly. What is wrong with people where we're now praising the criminals?
It's mind-blowing.
And it's fucking mind-blowing. Now, yes, there is
There's a problem.
There's a racist racist legislation that has caused this. Not necessarily a white guy or the cop. I mean, is there police brutality? I'm not denying there is.
Sure there is. Yeah.
Okay. But I'm saying that the majority of the problem is an economic problem. Again, these could all be solved if we didn't have government. Black people could actually
limited government.
A completely limited government.
Yeah.
If they could go to school and they could pick the school that they wanted to go to, or if they could get the education they wanted to. But no, they are forced to get education from a zip code because they live in a shitty neighborhood. They have to go to a shitty school that will give them shitty education. And he's absolutely, Professor Gutzman was talking, since the 1960s, there was hardly any unemployment rate for black men or black people at all. There was the Jim Crow laws and things along those lines, right? But now all of a sudden, unemployment's up to 33%. Why? Well, first of all, they're educated by the government. Secondly, they're put in a position where they're segregated from the rest of society. Thirdly, we have minimum wage laws, which can further hinder them from getting into the market and a barrier into the economy. So now they're fucked.
There's also drug laws.
There's drug laws on top of that actually target black people. Marijuana is for one example. So you got all these factors. Heather, what do you think? I don't know.
Well, I think that there is a basis for anger for being maybe in the situation that they're in, and we don't necessarily know what those people's experiences are.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes we need to step back, take a look at the point of view from someone else's shoes. And if they do feel hopeless and helpless, we need to not encourage the violent behavior. Don't call them thugs because that's a racist word now.
That's not. It's stupid.
Suck a dick, thugs.
Right.
I said it.
And by the way, I have been conducting a very informal poll among people that I work and know. Many, the majority of them, black people, and they all think that the idea that the word thug is now racist is absolutely ridiculous. Being a thug is a behavior, and yes, there are ugly people out there who will use any word in a derogatory fashion, but that doesn't mean that just because you identify someone acting in a negative way, if you call them out on that behavior, that you're being racist.
That's retarded.
Absolutely.
Well, this is the politically correct society that the progressives have established, that we can't say anything. And there was one comment I saw on Facebook. It was a black woman, and there was this white guy, the black people need this and need that and blah, blah, blah. And this black woman's like, I'm tired of your fucking wimpy ass, fucking loose wrist motherfucker because you know what's best for me, because you're a liberal and you know what's best for everyone, right?
Right. Hey, I got all the solutions.
It's not a one size fit all situation.
Right. One of the things that was said to me while I was conducting my informal poll over whether the word thug is now racist was, the problem is those white liberals think that they know best and they don't know jack shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's
motherfucker.
But
exactly.
that's the thing, though. It's like, I think the majority, us at the table, or classically liberal, or what we mean by that is we don't want the government to have some sort of map and plan to affect you. You should live. You should have property. You should do what you want. But I think one of the other problems is, I think the biggest problem is the welfare state. And what I mean by that is that you're living in a cage. What if, Kurt, would you take a job if you got paid more by not working?
Personally, I wouldn't.
Okay.
That's not me.
Okay, I'm just saying though.
But
like,
I hear you. Yes.
okay, you know, like if you made, let's say you can make $15 an hour versus $10 an hour, right? And you can make 15 for not working or 10 for working.
The equivalent of for not working.
Right. So they're rewarding people for not working.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So now but here's the thing, they cap out. What I mean by that is they are capped out at that certain wage for the rest of their lives.
Right. But people decide, well, I can't get by on that. You know,
They can get by. But
Right.
what I'm getting
they're
at,
not going to excel.
you're not going to excel. And so you create the system. So, like, you know, we got the drug war that has put a lot of
The war on dirt.
the war on dirt. It's tangible, right? We were talking
Right,
about,
right.
God damn, we're going back.
Yeah, way
Right.
back.
But what I'm saying is you got this drug war, this so-called drug war that is putting a lot of, and it is, I think that law is targeted towards African Americans, all right? I honestly believe it is, especially marijuana. All right, so these black men are being incarcerated. There's a lot of black men who are being incarcerated. Now you have these kids growing up in communities with no dads, and now you've just created this culture of rebels. And of course they're going to get into crime.
Well, yeah, and that part of that culture is fatherless children.
Yes,
and which now you've got the whole thing spinning sideways.
Absolutely.
Because you have the father who is a case all on his own that's in prison, that's part of a system that he now can't get out of.
right.
And now he's a felon, blah, blah, blah. And now you have a young child, let alone the mother that's trying to raise a kid. I mean, it's so complicated. But
There's a lot of factors.
But
Totally.
it all spins out of control in the wrong fucking direction.
Absolutely.
All of it.
I feel the majority of all these problems that we're facing is government. Overstep of government. The government does not need to redistribute wealth. It doesn't need to do half these things. And it's put them in a gilded cage to where now these individuals are limited in their opportunity because it seemed like the better idea. It seemed like a good idea at the time, but it doesn't give you any opportunity to grow.
Well, I would like to say there is the opportunity to grow. They do have everyone, no matter where it's just learned behavior, whether you're black, white, Mexican, no matter what race you are. It is hard to break that cycle because it's a learned behavior. And if you were taught that is the way, it's the easiest way. And so it's easy to fall back on that. But the potential to succeed and get out of that is absolutely there if you have the drive to do it.
But what I'm saying is most people, that it's human nature to take the path of least resistance. That's what I'm getting at.
If I didn't have to work, I wouldn't.
Right. Who would?
Right.
If you could sit there
I
and
would.
Well, you maybe. I would. I'd love to play video games all day.
And
read Liberty books.
For me, it's an idle hands thing, and I think there are a lot of people, not a lot, but there are a number of people that would choose to work even if they, personally.
I don't know. I guess I could have found a sugar daddy or something, and I didn't.
You got Johnny.
And he's very sweet.
Oh, okay.
But broke ass motherfucker.
But yes.
No, but I'm broke. But what I'm getting at is I think this is just important for us as a country. I think that we should just get beyond this race issue and start moving towards a direction of, hey, it's economic issues. It's not a race. It's not a race issue. And I think we should just be smart about this and really think about really what the root of the problem is instead of just saying, oh, they just hated this guy, or they inadvertently killed this guy because he was black. And I don't think that's the issue.
Some of the officers that are now being charged with a crime, 2 of them are black or African American.
Right.
So
People of color.
yes, that's right.
I don't know what the new term is, guys. Come on.
It'll be different next week. But.
Right. So to say that it's an race, I really believe it's a policy issue. And yes, according to the attorney the state attorney, I don't know her name. She said that they did not follow proper procedure. He should have been buckled into the van, which he was not. He repeatedly asked for help. They repeatedly stopped the van. Police went on radio calls when
got donuts.
So they did not follow procedure.
Sure.
They should have called medical attention, but I do not think it's a race issue. What I think happened is there's so much frustration because of the media coverage. We're hearing about every single incident nationwide. And so we're bombarded by social media and the news feeding this idea. And so people are frustrated. And so from their own personal experience, they can only identify from that personal experience. So they say, I feel it is because of race.
Okay, Kurt, anything really quick?
It's easy to put this racial, and I think it's also too easy to generalize. And I think anytime you have a situation with a black person and a white person, whether one of those is a police officer and one of those is a perpetrator, there's going to be some kind of bullshit that arises.
I think, yeah, and I agree with both of you. I think you're both right. I think it's not an easy question to answer. I think there's multiple things that are going on. There's policies, behaviors, learned behaviors, all these factors that are involved. Again, I don't think it's a race issue. I think we need to step away and say, hey, quit. And I'm going to blame the media creating tension between two people that really are not fighting. Quit riling up shit. Quit race baiting, basically what I'm going to say. Quit doing that. This is it's adding fuel to the fire that doesn't even exist in a lot of ways. I don't think yes, there is racism, but it's not to the extent.
It ups the ratings.
It ups the ratings, absolutely. Anyways, this is Johnny Rocket here at the Johnny Rocket Launchpad. Launching ideas in your direction. The Northwest's only rock and roll libertarian radio show. This is Johnny Rocket launching ideas in your direction. Next week, we're going to have Professor Tom W. Bell. See you next week.